So at the risk of condemning myself, I think government has a checkered history and as many mistakes and failures as they have successes. And part of that is just the immense scale at which most state governments function, and that in many cases the complexity of what we do requires a new data system, a technology that is by its nature kind of experimental. And so now I think we are getting to the point in most states where they feel that they're going to, that they are moving into new systems. But we saw during COVID how many states had, their Department of Labor was still using antiquated software, antiquated technology to deliver refunds, tremendous numbers of fraud, cases of fraud, and people gaming the system just because we don't have some of what would now be considered basic safeguards in our technology. And there's no solution to this except investing the money to get, high quality technology. We worked very hard, and I know Bill Haslam worked very hard in Tennessee, but to try and bring people in from the private sector and to really address these things head on. We hired the woman who had been senior vice president of global technology for Oracle. And so she came and spent 4 years as our secretary of technology and chief information officer, and really did take on some of those major mind-boggling challenges. And it was bumpy. It was hard. That the training that's historically been in state governments of all the workforce, but also the managers in the workforce, the training has often been insufficient. So that when you try to to upgrade an entire technological system in an agency, the challenges are more than just the technology itself. It's making sure that everyone's on the same page as you roll out the new technology, that everyone's communicating clearly, that you have constant feedback and measurement. And you're in almost any one of these rollouts of a new system is going to be iterative to a certain extent. You're constantly improving it as you do it. And it took us a while to get there. We ended up leaving, when I left office in 2018, we had put together an institute for the state of Colorado for leadership training. And a big part of that institute was to help guide, the culture when you bring in new technology. How do you take all the workforce and the people who are going to be affected by the technology and have to use the technology? How do you make them part of the process of not only the selection, but the implementation of the technology? Because that turns out to be, as I think people knew more clearly in the private sector than in the public sector, at least 10 years ago. That's a big part of your success, is making sure that there's a real sense of ownership by the entire, the food chain up and down of a given state agency.